Okay, so these are the essential questions for this week. Okay, we are going to do 2.2 today, solving absolute value equations. So the first thing we're gonna answer is what is a definition of absolute value? The second thing is how do you solve absolute value equations algebraically? Okay. So as we go through these slides, please take notes. And here we go. So absolute value, remember that the absolute value means the distance away from zero. Okay, that's why whenever you have something in absolute value, like absolute value of -3, it comes out to be +3 because they're talking about the distance away from zero. So here's -3 right here. This distance, 1, 2, 3, is 3 units, right, away from zero. That's why the absolute value is always positive because we're talking about distance. And distance, no matter if you are running forward or walking forward or backwards or side to side, you are moving positively. Okay? You have a distance that is positive from where you started. Okay? I apologize, guys. I just read the next part of it, and this is actually our next lesson. Same thing though. It's this slide. Okay? Distance is always positive, right? So if you walk backwards 3 steps, or let's say 4 steps, that's a -4, right? Because you walk backwards. Okay? The distance that you walked is still 4 steps, correct? So that's why it's always going to be positive again. Okay? So now we're just going to dive into some problems here. All right, and then some more problems and it will be done. 5 examples of how to solve it algebraically, and it will be done. All right, yes. Okay, so here we have the absolute value of y plus 5 equals 32, right? So if the absolute value of y plus 5 equals 32, let's number line this. If I put it on a number line, and this is 0, since it has a distance of 32, this is positive 32, and this is negative 32, correct? So they both have a distance of 32, right? From negative 32 to 0, that's 32 units. From 0 to 32, that's also 32 units, correct? So how do I make sure that the distance away from 0, right, absolute value of whatever's inside, y plus 5, is equal to 32? Make it equal to these number lines, 32 and negative 32. And then we're just going to solve it. Okay? So y plus 5 equals negative 32, and y plus 5 equals positive 32. And then we're going to go ahead and just solve. Okay? So here, we're going to subtract 5 on both sides. Y equals negative 37. Subtract 5 here on both sides. Y is equal to 27. Yeah. Okay. Another way to kind of think about this, I kind of want to show you guys and bridge the graphing absolute values to this, okay, the transformations. Okay, while you guys are writing that down. Y plus 5, if it's a plus 5 on the inside, what do we do? Horizontal shift, which direction? Left, correct? Left 5 units, correct? Yeah, so if I move the negative 32, right, 5 units to the left, I get negative 37. Yeah. If I move 32 left 5 units, I get 27. Okay. So they're all connected. Okay, the graphing and the algebra is all connected. All right. Just wanted to showcase that for a little bit. All right. So this guy here, 35 equals y minus 18. The absolute value, whenever I have an absolute value on one side of the equation by itself, whatever is inside, I don't care. I don't care what's inside. I just care that the absolute value is isolated. Okay. I always think the distance away from 0. The distance away from 0 equals 35. So what can y minus 18 be equal to? It could be equal to 35, right, on a number line, right? The absolute value can be equal to 35 or can be equal to negative 35. Okay? And we can go ahead and just solve it. Right? Add 18 to both sides. Y equals 54, 3. Yeah. Add 18 to both sides. Y is equal to, what is this? 17. Negative. Negative 17. Okay? That's all we're doing for today. These are the easy ones. I have 2 of harder ones in a little bit. So absolute value is isolated, which I love to see, right? So the distance away from 0 equals 8. So the distance needs to be 8 away from 0. What are the 2 numbers on the number line that has a distance of 8? 8 and negative 8, right? So we're just going to make whatever is inside my absolute value equal to 8 or equal to negative 8 and solve. So subtract 8 on both sides. Negative 5x equals 0. Divide by negative 5 on both sides. X is still equal to 0. Here, subtract 8 on both sides. Negative 5x equals negative 16. Divide by negative 5 on both sides. X is equal to positive 16/5. Cool? Simple? So it's pretty simple when we have our absolute value isolated on one side of the equation. Preferably, if you guys get into the habit, put that absolute value If it's not already on the left-hand side, put it on the left-hand side. Okay. All right. Get into the habit of making it on the left-hand side because it'll serve you well when we talk about inequalities. Okay. So here I have two more. Okay. So I want to isolate my absolute value first. So the first step in these equations is to isolate the absolute value. Okay. So what do I do first here to make this by itself? Somebody else? Yeah. Subtract 8 from both sides. Subtract 8 on both sides. We're getting better. Negative 4 absolute value of 4x plus 1 is equal to negative 20. And then I'm going to divide by negative 4. Right? I know this is positive 5, but let's talk about if it's negative 5. Okay? I know it's positive 5. Let's talk about when it's negative 5. Yes. I would not. Technically, no. Because it's still in the absolute value. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about why that, if it's a negative 5, what happens? Okay. The absolute value means the distance away from 0. Correct? The distance away from 0 is negative 5. Let's say, for example, right here where I am is 0. Can you guys stand up and give me like a example of a distance of negative 5? Anybody? Yeah, where I'm standing is 0. Or do I have to move to get a distance of negative 5? That way? Or to the left? Or to your left? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The stack of graph paper is 5 or 0. This still has a distance of 5. Right? Like I move backwards, like Michael Jackson, moonwalk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it still has a distance of 5. Right? Can you guys show me a negative distance? No. Even when, or if I move to your right, if I move to your left, if I move up, if I move back, right? Even if I move side to side, yeah, it's always just going to be a positive distance, right? Yeah. So when we isolate our absolute value and we come out to be a negative number, right? It equals a negative number. That can never ever happen, right? Yeah, because there is no negative distance. Okay, so in this case, if it was negative 5 here, I know it's positive 5 again, it's going to be no solution. Okay, where are you going to say it's positive 5? Okay. All right. It's going to be a no solution if it's a negative distance, right? And only when you isolate the absolute value can you analyze that. Okay. So, but it's a positive 5. So let's go ahead and solve for this. So if the distance away from 0 equals 5, 4x plus 1, right? The distance away from 0 equals 5. The distance, or 4x plus 1 equals 5. And 4x plus 1 equals negative 5. Because those are the two values on a number line that has a distance of 5. Cool? And then we just solve it. Subtract 1 on both sides. I'm going to just do both equations at once. Equals 4. 4x equals negative 6. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. X here equals positive 1. X here equals negative 3/2. Okay? And that is your answer. All right? Last one. Let's make this a positive 8. I want to showcase a point. Okay? So I'm going to subtract 8 on both sides. Please, please, please. This is a common pitfall for students. Okay? If I had like a alarm, I would sound it. I want to see. What do you do first? I was going to say subtract 8 on both sides. What do we do first? Dark. Huh? Subtract 8. Some students, right, and you guys might have this mindset, so I'm going to correct you now, is go 8 minus 4 equals 4. Okay? I'm not going to show you the rest because it's going to be ingrained in your head, so I'm not. Okay? So don't do that. We're just going to subtract 8 on both sides. So negative 4 absolute value of 8 minus 5x is equal to 0. Divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4. Absolute value of 8 minus 5x, right, equals 0. There's only one solution, right? There's no negative 0 here. So 8 minus 5x equals 0. Because the distance away from 0 equals 0, right? There's only one number on the number line that showcases that, correct? Yeah, this is my number line. This is 0. Distance away from this number here is 0. It has to be that point, right? So then we just solve this. Subtract 8, subtract 8. Negative 5x equals negative 8. Divide by negative 5, divide by negative 5. X equals positive 8 over 5. Okay? So there's sometimes there's going to be one solution. Sometimes there's going to be two solutions. Most of the time there's going to be two solutions. And sometimes there's going to be no solution. So 0, 1, or 2. Cool deal? Yeah. Questions on this lesson? No? That is the lesson for today. And we'll talk about your work, what you have to do after these messages.